Hey guys, it's Olivia here from Olivia's Catastrophe. I'm Olivia and today I'm going to show you or tell you the top 5 books that I would love to see in book to film adaptation. So these are books that have been published, that I've read, that I think are amazing and think could make brilliant movies. However, I am going to throw in an extra run because I just finished this book and I also wanted to add it to this list. So it's more like the top 6 ones, but you know, top 5 sounds like a more catchy title. So I'm cheating a little bit. But let's get right to the books that I think would make brilliant movies. So the first book that I would love to see as a movie is my go-to answer whenever I get this question asked to me, and that is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. The Lunar Chronicles is a series of fairy tale retellings, and it's set in this kind of alternative, not quite sci-fi, not quite fantasy world where, let's say for the first book at least, the Cinderella is a cyborg. And cyborgs are kind of an oppressed and unappreciated people in this world. There's also a plague going on and this evil queen who wants to take over the human world, but she comes from another planet called Lunar. And they have like glamours and magical powers and humans don't, so they're kind of at her mercy. So I really love this series. I think it's brilliant. I love all the characters. Each book, as it's a fairy tale retelling, introduce a different couple. Most people, I would say 50% of the fandom, find the third book and the third couple that appear in it to be the best. I will always go with the second book. Scarlet and Wolf just showed me some stuff about feminism and appreciating your woman, and I love them so much. And I just found these books to be so much fun, such a creative spin on the fairy tales. They've set a trend of fairy tale retellings just becoming very, very popular, and I think they'd make such a great movie because there's plenty of action, there's some really cute romances, and if you're into those like graphic effects, you will definitely get that with Cinder being a cyborg and able to do some of these cool capability kind of things. The second book that I'd absolutely love to see as a movie is the Gone series by Michael Grant. I know that there have been discussions about this one becoming a movie, and the difficulty is that the cast would all have to be very young because it's a group of teenagers who get trapped underneath a dome, and they also start to mutate and form powers. So you've got all these like power, but not all of them get powers. So you've got some power-driven teenagers who rise to the top of the hierarchy and some below. Eventually food runs out. There's no adults to organise themselves or like dictate how things go down. So you could just imagine the chaos that happens and the power games. Lots of people don't like this series because they believe it to be a bit too graphic and a bit too violent for teenagers. And I do have to say, it does get a bit graphic, it does get a bit violent. Yes, if you can take that on board, you will be able to love this series. Every single book, I promise you, every single book gets better than the previous one in the series. It'd make for a great movie. Better yet, a series. I think Lunar Chronicles as well should be a series rather than a movie, because there's superpowers which seem to be on the rise and a trend today. There's lots and lots of like kind of underlying politics like Game of Thrones, and lots and lots of romances, dramas, deaths as well, so people would go crazy and fangasm everywhere. The third book I would like to see as a television series or movie would be the Noughts and Crosses series by Mallory Blackman, a highly underrated series. This one is where Mallory Blackman has reversed racism. Instead of the white people being privileged and the black people being oppressed, it's the black people who are privileged and the white people who are oppressed. And it's kind of interesting to see what in the world that reverses, even down to the small things, like for example, it's very hard to find beige plasters. So little things like that really interested me to see, wow, this society actually does cater towards, you know, the privileged rather than the oppressed in different ways that you don't really notice in real life. But as well as that, she manages to make this amazing romance story. She manages to make this amazing, you know, discuss the theme of hate when it comes to racism in this amazing way, and there's a whole storyline with that. You follow through the female protagonist's full life, and you get her perspective. You also get the romance interest perspective and also the romance interest brother's perspective, and as the series goes on you get other people's perspective thrown in there as well. and the ending of the first book will literally tear out your heart, break it in two in front of your eyes, drop it on the floor, stamp on it, crush you into oblivion, and then you'll be like, why is the world like this? So you should definitely read this book, because you will cry as well. And if it was a movie, the whole world would cry with us. How great would that be? Then the fourth book I'd love to see as a movie, definitely not a series, would be The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. This is an adult fiction read, so contrary to the rest of the books on this list, it's not young adult, but I think it's something that everyone should really read. What happens is there's this priest of a church, and he's interested in meeting the devil. He wants to know what the devil is like, so he puts this ad in the newspaper saying, "Dear devil, please come to my city." And then this little black boy appears who is about the age of the main character in this book, who is another child, and he says, "Hi, I'm Sal, I'm the devil." And then there is the whole issue of, is he the devil? Is he not the devil? Do we believe what he says? However, when he is introduced into this town, the people around him, or the town, starts to act very weird, and their response to him is very weird as well, and what he does escalates different things. I'm trying to not give away spoilers here. It says a lot of very interesting things, even if you're unreligious, about perceptions that people have of heaven, of hell, of good and bad, of God and the devil. But this book is written beautifully. It's very, very thought-provoking, and it just messed up my mind so much. I really highly recommend it. It deals with themes like LGBT plus themes. It's also set in history, so it brings out those themes more because it's set in those times. The theme of racism, the theme of hate, and of course the theme of good and bad. The next one I've decided I would love to see as a movie is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. If you've been watching my channel lately, you'll know that I've recently discovered this series and I keep harking on about it, and you're like, Olivia, be quiet, we get it, we'll read it, or we have read it and we love it too, so we already know, be quiet. But imagine this as a movie. And I think they would be able to play with the suspense and foreshadowing in this book very, very well. It follows these 4 boys who are on a quest to find the king who should have been dead ages ago, but according to this magical myth, he's still alive somewhere, and if you find him, he grants one wish. These 4 boys come into encounter with Blue, who is a daughter to a group of psychics, and she's been told if she ever kisses her true love, he will die. It would make a very, very good movie just because of the suspense, the tension, the action, and yeah, I just think it would make a good movie. And lastly, we have the unexpected addition to this list. I recently finished this book. It was Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Imagine this as a movie, guys. Imagine this as a movie. It would be up there with The Hate U Give. I haven't even read that yet. It has fantasy, it has magic, but it's dealing with topics of racism and oppression at the same time. This one follows Zelly, who is a magi, but all the magi people in her fantasy world has been oppressed by their ruler, and their magic has disappeared. However, these artifacts suddenly appear, and if a ritual is done with them at the right time, at the right place, magic will come back to the land, and that might be the power that these oppressed magi need to come back and prove their worth and take back their standing in their society. However, it's not going to be that easy. There's people trying to stop them, and it deals with the perspective of both the oppressed and the oppressor. So it deals with a lot of different themes: forgiveness, hate, anger, guilt, shame, wanting to change. But at the same time, it's still a young adult fantasy read, and you can literally just read it as that if you want to. But it would be so good. I can imagine all the effects with the magic, and I can imagine this whole world, CGI, amazing graphics, that I can imagine very, very strong emotional characters, relevant themes, and you know what? If I had to think of the ultimate movie I would compare this to, Black Panther. I get Black Panther vibes while reading this book, so imagine like a second Black Panther movie. So there you have it. Those are the top 6 books I would love to see as either movies or series. Let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with me, if you think any of these would make good or bad movies or series. Know which book you would love to see as a movie or series that hasn't been adapted yet. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to see more, and don't forget to hit that little notification bell if you want to be updated every time I have a new video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!